Well, hello. Right, so, welcome. Thank you for joining me this fine Sunday evening. And it is a fine Sunday evening, actually. Sun is shining, bit of wind, nothing too bad. A lot of midges out there, glad I'm in here. And it's actually quite a nice evening. Right, so, let's get the legalities out the way. Hey Charlie, hey Wraith. Before we begin tonight's story, can I please remind you that this is strictly for mature audiences only, not suitable for under 18s or anyone with a sensitive disposition. Also, please be advised that this story does contain graphic imagery. Well, I say imagery, I'm talking, but you can imagine it. And there are mentions of sexual assault. If you are new to the channel and you like what you see, then please hit that follow button. It really does mean a lot and it helps me to grow. If you do like the story and you're interested in more, then jump on over to my YouTube channel where I upload every story from the very beginning back in January when I started doing this series. If you're watching this over on YouTube, then please hit that sub button, ring that bell, and you'll always be notified when I upload. Feel free to like, comment, and share the crap out of my videos. It really does mean a lot to me. But if you are sharing them, please remember to advise people that it is for over 18s only. I can't afford to get sued, okay? It's that simple. I can't afford that. Hi, friend! Thought we decided that was for when I'm playing D&D. DVD. No, D&D, I've not played that in a while. Thought we decided that was for when I was trying to find friends. And Dead by Daylight. Which I really need to get back to actually, because I'm really enjoying it now. But I do like that song. Yeah, I know. That's a really good sound of it. Right, so tonight's story was another recommendation from one of the community. It was from MK Minimum. So, Mr. Modman, can I get I can't shout him if he's not here. Crap. Right, if Minimum comes into the chat later, can you shout him out for me? Because this was his recommendation. I don't know whether I should be thanking him for that or not, actually. Right. I had heard bits about this story. Like, I knew the basic construct of it. But I didn't know too much, so I had to research it. Because I couldn't go on what I knew. So I had to do quite a lot of research for this one. Just to make sure I get the facts right. And yeah, it wasn't nice. It really didn't make for pleasant it made for interesting reading, but it didn't make for pleasant reading. So yeah, hang on to your hats, boys and girls, because tonight we're going to learn all about Richard Trenton Chase, otherwise known as the Vampire of Sacramento. And no prizes are getting given out for guessing where he got that name. But if you did guess cannibalism and drinking blood, then give yourself a pat in the back. Because it's going to be one of those stories. Because our boy Richard... No. Our boy Richard, right, drank the blood of his victims and ate their internal organs. But wait, there's more. Of course there is. This delightful chap believed that doing this prevented Nazi UFOs from turning his blood into powder. And they could do this using poison that they had placed under his soap dish. Yeah, here's a thought. Chuck out the flaming soap dish and buy a new one instead of, killing and eating people. Surely that would be the rational thing to do in that situation. But I'm just here to tell his tale. I'm not here to judge. Someone else did that for me. Oh, but this one is wild. Okay, oh. Now, where to even begin with a story like this? So, right at the beginning, it's the safest bet. Richard was born on 23rd of May, 1950. He was raised in an extremely strict household and was regularly beaten by his father. Funny, a lot of these stories start with dodgy parents. A lot of cases I cover could have been avoided if the killers in question had half-decent parents. Like, seriously, if you're gonna have kids, then have kids. None of my business. But if all you're gonna do is beat them and abuse them, then don't fucking have them. Simple. I mean, it's no difficult to avoid having kids. Even in the 1950s, okay? Condoms still existed back then, people. Seriously. If you don't want to get wet, you put a jacket on. You don't want to have kids, you put a condom on. It's not that difficult. But, and before anybody says anything, there is no mention of them being religious. So, that's out the window. I know certain churches are against birth control. They were not in any religion that I could see. So, that wasn't the reason. They just had a kid and beat the shit out of him. Aye, went over. For now, I've got a few rants in this one. Apologies in advance for that. Yeah, it's going to be one of these stories. Yeah, I'm good, Charlie. How's you? It's good to see you streaming again. Right. So, as he became a teenager, Richard developed an alcohol addiction and grew fond of Hey Purple just in time. We are covering The Vampire of Sacramento tonight. It was Minimum's recommendation. And so far I've had a rant about condoms and Nazi UFOs and poisoned soap dishes. I swear you've only missed a paragraph and a half. Like, seriously. This story's messed up. So, yeah. As a teenager, he developed an alcohol addiction and grew fond of killing and mutilating animals. And not just that, he was quite the fire starter as well. So, yay. So, like, this kid really did tick all the how to spot a serial killer in the making boxes. But yeah, for some reason it went completely unnoticed or it got completely ignored. If history's taught us anything, it's more likely to be the latter of the two options there. So, during his high school years, he was quite popular with the ladies and he had quite a few girlfriends, actually, Richard. But he was never able to maintain a relationship. Due to, in part, the fact that he was completely psychotic and loved torturing and killing animals. But we'll just sidestep that for the time being. He was never able to maintain a steady relationship due to, in part, his inability to keep an erection or even get one at all with women in general. I managed to say that line with a straight face. I couldn't type that without laughing. And I really shouldn't be laughing at that, and I know, but I'm a big kid and I said the word erection and I typed it and I thought it was hilarious. Okay. Really matter what context it was in. I wrote the word erection and thought it was hilarious. So, it gets better. So at this time, he went to see a psychiatrist who told him his issues were either repressed rage or mental illness. Nay, he must not have liked the diagnosis because he never returned for treatment. Of course he didn't. They never do in these cases and no one forces them to, and it's so frustrating. It was later decided that he could only... It was later decided that he had an aversion to conventional sex. That he could only keep an erection and climax through violent or disturbing acts, such as killing animals and necrophilia. And I didn't need a search engine to tell me what that means, because as we all know, that is having sex with dead bodies. I watch Rob Zombie, okay? I don't know. So, yeah. Now, once he reached adulthood, he moved back in with his mother. But his poison delusions began then, and he started to accuse his mother of trying to kill him with poison. His father decided that he'd had enough of his son's crap, and he kicked him out of his mother's and moved him into his own apartment. Because this guy is dangerous, and instead of getting him help, they let him out loose into the world. Just not when you go, there's a flat, go and live in it. Really? Because that always works out so freaking well, doesn't it? Sorry, it's just... A lot of the times, you can see how easily these things could have been avoided, and they never were. It's just... Makes you want to grab and shake them, but they're probably dead, so it doesn't really make a difference, right? But, nah, man. Now, yeah, it is very frustrating, Purple. Like, really, because you just... all the signs are there, and they just don't care. No, not interested. Once he was in his own place, where there was no one to stop him, living out his sick and twisted fantasies, he began to capture, kill and disembowel different animals that he would then eat raw. Lovely. But he was health conscious. He turned their entrails into smoothies. Yeah, I'm not even joking. Apparently, drinking these entrail smoothies prevented his heart from shrinking, because he thought that if it shrank too much, it would disappear. Kill him. Like, is that even medically possible? Can your heart actually shrink? I don't think so. I mean, I've got some medical training, and it's not something that I've ever heard of. And even if it is a real medical thing, like an actual medical condition, I highly doubt that these entrail smoothies would make a blind bit of fucking difference, you know? Like, really? But, yeah, so he was drinking entrail smoothies to prevent his heart from shrinking because Nazi UFOs are poisoning his soap dish to turn his blood to powder. It was, really? No one... Yeah. His parents knew about these delusions. Really? Right. 1975, the now 25-year-old Richard ends up in hospital with blood poisoning, which he got when he injected rabbit's blood directly into his veins. Seriously, I would love just 2 minutes in this guy's mind. I would love to know what was going through his mind at the time and how he got the idea that it was the right thing to do, inject rabbit's blood into his own veins. I would love to know his train of thought behind that and his reasoning. I really would. Because, like, what did he think was going to happen? Would the rabbit's blood fend off the Nazi UFOs? I don't know. But, anyway. But, whatever his reasoning, the doctors at the ER certainly didn't think it was a very clever idea, and Richard was involuntarily sectioned in a mental institute. Now you would be forgiven here for thinking that Richard would receive the help he desperately needed. But no, of course not. He managed to escape. Of course he did. Because they didn't think to keep an eye on him. Not like he's injecting rabbit's blood in his veins or anything. Oh well. But he escaped and he made his way to his mother's house. You know, the woman that was poisoning him for the Nazi UFOs. Yeah, he went there. But she was having none of it. I was like, hell no, nope, not getting involved. She reported him and he was apprehended. And this time he was sent to an institute for the criminally insane. Very difficult to escape from one of these places. You would think. He never escaped, by the way. I know of some instances where people... Sorry, my hair's not sitting right, it's annoying me. I know some instances where people have escaped from institutes for the mentally insane, criminally insane. This is not one of those times. So, but it's generally, that's difficult to get out of places like that. Thank God. Now, during his time being committed, he shared his twisted fantasies about killing rabbits. Now, at one point, he was even found with blood all over his face and mouth. Now, it turned out he had managed to capture and kill a couple of birds through the bars of his bedroom. He caught them and stabbed their necks and drank the blood from their lifeless bodies. Close a damn window! Really? Now, it was due to this that the staff started referring to him as Dracula. Now, while institutionalised, yeah, you said it right first time that time, he underwent a whole range of treatments and tests involving psychotropic drugs, and he was considered no longer a danger to society and released into his parents' care in 1976, only a year later. But the meds were clearly working, or they wouldn't have released him after all. Upon his release, his mother decided that she knew better than the doctors, and she weaned her son off of the antipsychotic meds that were prescribed to him. Because I guess having a son who is on anti-schizophrenic drugs was embarrassing or something. But I mean, having them dangerous was okay, I guess, right? It's like, kill a couple of neighbourhood cats, but don't take medication. Can't have people thinking I'm a bad mom. Really? I know, right? Again, no prizes for working out that was not a good idea. After his release, his parents again set him up with his own apartment because that worked out so well the last time. They really don't spanking learn, do they, on Ellis War? But these parents are idiots. Okay, there, I said it. They're idiots. They should have been sterilised at birth. Yeah. Once, on his own, he began to capture, torture, and kill rabbits, cats, and dogs. And on occasion, he killed and ate neighbours' pets. And on at least one occasion, he actually had the cheek to phone the neighbour and tell them what he'd done to their dog. Yeah, you looking for your dog? I've got him. I've just ate him. Sorry. You can pick up his drained carcass anytime you fancy, but he's got no blood left and I've ate all his organs because I needed to turn them into smoothies to fend off the Nazi UFOs that are poisoning me. You know, it doesn't matter how many times you say Nazi UFOs, it doesn't sound anything less hilarious. Like, I get it, he was born just after the war, everybody was terrified of the Nazis, okay, I get it. But, jeez, really? Now, along with this, he became obsessed with guns and bought several semi-automatic handguns, to which he practiced with religiously. Oh, I was wrong, there is religious mentioned in this. But yeah, he practiced with these things day and night. The Hillside Strangler also became a fascination of his, and he believed that the Strangler was the victim of the same Nazi UFO conspiracy that he was a victim of. So these Nazi UFOs, whatever they were doing, were they were poisoning your soap dishes and turning people against you and trying to turn your blood to powder and shrink your heart to disappear. Well, he thought that the same Nazi UFOs that were after him were after the Hillside Strangler. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Oh my god. Right, can we just stop? Just stop for 1 minute and think about this logically. Right. Here we have a 26-year-old male who is clearly in need of the medication that he was supposed to be taking. He's killing and eating animals. He's dangerous. He's delusional. And someone thought, you know what? Let him become a gun owner. Now, this is just my opinion. The Second Amendment sucks. Yeah. But yeah, the Nazi... No, that's because I read that. The Second Amendment sucks. Okay? I'm sorry, but no one has the automatic right to own a weapon capable of killing someone in a single shot, especially someone who is proven to be as dangerous as Richard Chase. He should not have been allowed to own a gun because he was... what's the word? He was an inpatient in a flaming loony bin. He was an inpatient in a mental institute for the criminally insane. And they allowed him to own a gun. That doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, he's clearly mentally unstable. On paperwork, he's mentally unstable because he's been admitted. He's been committed. Yeah. UFO shit crazy, but never mind. He's been committed to a mental institute and a mental institute for the criminally insane. And they let him buy not just one, but several semi-automatic pistols. No. No, 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 no. Now, if you are a God-fearing, law-abiding citizen who has never even so much as got a parking ticket, and you want to protect your home and your loved ones, and you feel safe with having a handgun in your house, then fine, I have no issues with that, provided you go through the proper legal course. And you get trained on how to safely use and store and clean the weapon. What I have, however, got an issue with is people who are criminally insane being allowed a semi-automatic handgun because it's their Second Amendment right as a United States citizen. That shit's no right. And I don't care. Sorry, I need to grab my tongue. I don't care what anybody says. That shit right there's no right. Like I said, if you're a law-abiding citizen and you want a gun, whether it be for sport, for hunting, or just for safety reasons, for security, to keep your home and your loved ones safe, then fine, I'm all for it. As long as the proper steps are taken, the right precautions are in place, it's legal, it's registered, it's stored it safely, and you know how the fuck to use it. Then go for it. Get your licence, get your open carry permit or whatever it is you need, and get your gun. If you are criminally insane, you lose the right to bear arms. Public safety comes before your Second Amendment right, in my opinion. Clearly, the Americans don't believe that. Not all Americans, but clearly the NRA has it, the National Rifle Association, and they clearly don't agree with me, but yeah. And here we're back to talking about the fucking American Amendment. But that's just my thought on it. I did warn you there was going to be a few rants in this one. Sorry. Right, back to the story. So, while he's playing with his guns and killing the neighbourhood animals and whatnot, I guess he just ran out of time to take care of himself because his personal hygiene went gone, like ran away. I got terrified and got the hell up out of there because he stopped bathing, he stopped brushing his teeth, he didn't brush his hair, his clothes were dirty, he was unkempt. He also stopped eating, other than his smoothies and his blood. He never ate conventional food anymore. And his weight drastically fell to around 145 pounds, which is a decent weight, but not for somebody his size. He was a big lad, like big frame, tall, broad, and he'd walked into 145 pounds. Amazon. What is 145 pound in stone?
£145 is about 10 stone 5 pounds.
There you go. So, he dropped down to about 10.5 stone. That's less than me. Okay? He weighed less than me. That's not right. Right. Now, let's fast forward a year. It's 1977. And Richard turns up at his mum's house. Just pops by for a visit. And when she answered the door, He thrust a dead cat in her face. Here, Mum, have a dead cat. And then he threw it on the ground, knelt down beside it, ripped it open with his bare hands, and started covering himself in its blood while screaming his little head off. Now you would think that this scene would alarm, scare, or even shock his mother, like it would a normal person. But no. She simply and calmly went back inside and closed the door and never reported it to anyone. Like, really? What is it with this woman? Our son clearly needs help, okay? Like, he's just turned up at her front door, ripped a cat open and covered himself in its blood while screaming like a banshee, and she's just turned around and went, "No, not today, pal," and shut the door. "No thank you," shuts the door. He needs help before he decides that the neighbourhood animals aren't doing it for him anymore, and he turns his attention to humans. But she just doesn't give a flying fuck. Does not care. August 3rd, 1977. Richard's Ford Ranchero was found by Nevada State Police in a sand drift near Pyramid Lake. It was found stuck in a sand drift near Pyramid Lake, Nevada. Inside, officers discovered 2 rifles, a pile of clothes, a bucket of blood, and a cow's liver. All normal things to have in your car if you're criminally insane. They were able to track down Richard, and they found him. He was standing butt naked in the sand, covered head to toe in blood, and screaming his head off. When questioned, he claimed that it was his own blood that had leaked out of his skin. They let him go. They found him butt naked, covered in blood, claiming that it was his own leaking through his skin, and they let him go with his guns. Really? Come on! A few months pass. Well, now on to December, 27th of December to be precise, 1977. The police are called by a woman in Sacramento who tells them that Richard Chase had fired a 22 caliber handgun into her home. A search of her property is carried out, and they find the slug lodged in her kitchen wall. No one was harmed during the incident. And no arrests were made. Now, all I can think is, why is this man still allowed to walk about free? He is clearly armed and extremely dangerous. And to me, it just seems as though no one seemed to care. No one was interested in keeping this deranged psychopath off the streets. Even his own mother literally closed the door on him. Really? What on earth is it gonna take? Alright, I was going to take that page off. I've got 2 paragraphs to go. So, we're now on to the following year. No one know. I nearly missed a paragraph. I'm getting mad for that. 29th of December 1977. Richard escalated from killing animals to killing his first human. 51-year-old engineer and father of two, Ambrose Griffin, was helping his wife take groceries from the car into their home when Richard drove past and shot and killed him with his .22 caliber handgun. At the time of the killing, Ambrose's son remembered seeing a neighbour walking around with a .22 caliber rifle. But when the police checked, the ballistics tests proved that the neighbour's rifle was not the murder weapon, but the bullet did match the one that was taken out of a woman's kitchen a few days earlier in Sacramento. This still wasn't enough to get this maniac off the streets. Really? I mean, I get the feeling that he could literally walk into a police station covered head to toe in blood and still no one would do a damn thing. It's almost as if they don't see him. It's like, oh, I know he's there, I know he's doing all this stuff, but if we pretend that it's not happening, then we don't need to deal with it. It'll just disappear. Newsflash, he's escalated. He's going to keep going. It's like a drug addict. Always chasing that first high, ever and ever again. Now we're on to the 11th of January 1978. And Richard asks a neighbour for a cigarette. Perfectly normal thing. But Richard decided to physically restrain the poor woman until she handed over the full pack. Like, he held her down until she gave him the full packet of cigarettes. Because one wasn't enough for him. He wanted them all. A mere 2 weeks later, Richard went and tried to enter the home of another woman, but he found that the doors were locked. So he went into her back garden and walked away. Now this bit I did know. This was the bit that I remembered. He would later say that locked doors to him meant that he wasn't welcome, but the unlocked doors were an invitation to come inside. And people wonder why I always keep my doors locked at all times. Seriously, people, I cannot stress this enough. Always be aware of your surroundings. Even if you live in a safe neighbourhood, always, always, always keep your doors locked. Especially if you are a female who lives alone or a single parent. Because shit can go wrong in the blink of an eye. But if your door is locked, you get that extra split second to deal with something before it becomes an issue. Because you could never be too careful when it comes to your personal security. Again, it might be the ex-private security geared in me, or it might just be that I'm a naturally paranoid person on a good day. But still, please never just assume that because you're in your own home, you are safe. Because trust me, you are not. Okay? Your home is your castle, I get that, but just because you are at home does not mean you are safe. Now, while he was wandering about the neighbourhood, he happened upon a young woman that he had went to high school with, a woman by the name of Nancy Holden. Now, he did ask her for a ride, but she was scared off by his dirty, unkempt appearance and refused. She's like, hell no! I am not letting your skanky looking ass into my car. Not happening. And she drove off. And all fairness, that is probably the most sensible thing she will ever have done in her entire life, without even knowing at the time. Now, after not being able to enter the first property, he went down the street and he broke into. It's saying he broke in, but I'm assuming that the door or a window was open or something, because he won't go in if the doors are locked. But he broke into the home of a young married couple. Once inside, he stole some of their valuables, urinated in a drawer that was full of their baby's clothes. Why did that just come up and say I'm offline? Right, my stream's still working. No more. Right, so he urinated in a drawer full of their baby's clothes. And he shit on their son's bed. Now we see where Amber Heard got that idea from. The couple returned. Oh, come on. I had to get one joke in, right? Okay, I can't stand the woman. The couple returned home while he was still in the house. And the husband attacked him. And honestly, I don't blame him one little bit either. Because he gets home, they get home for a nice evening out, doing whatever they were doing, and they find a man pissing and shitting all over their kids' possessions. No! You don't do that. So the husband did ever long. Fuck him. But somehow Richard, he was a big lad, even if he did weigh 10.5 stone just, he managed to escape. Not satisfied, he continued to try and enter homes. And he came across that this happens in the space of maybe about a week and a half. He's trying all these doors, he's determined he's going to get into one of these houses. One of these houses is going to invite him in but leaving the door unlocked. So he comes across the house of David and Teresa Wallen. Now, David was at work, and Teresa, who was 3 months pregnant at the time, was taking the garbage out, so the house was unlocked. Meaning Richard could get entry. Now, he surprised the poor woman when she came back in and shot her 3 times with the same gun they had used to kill Ambrose Griffin only a few weeks earlier. The same gun that the police know he fired into a woman's kitchen. But nobody was hurt, right? So it's no big deal. Now, he shot her once in the hand, which was a defence wound because she put her hand up, and twice in the head, killing her. Once he had killed her, he dragged her into the bedroom where he repeatedly raped her corpse and stabbed it while he was doing so. Once he was finished, he cut open her body and removed several of her organs. He also collected some of her blood in a bucket and took it to the bathroom to bathe in it. Then he cut off one of her nipples and drank her blood using an empty yogurt tub as a cup. Before he fled the scene, he went into the couple's garden, gathered up some dog shit, returned to Teresa's mutilated corpse and stuffed the dog shit into her mouth and throat. this could have been avoided. This didn't need to happen. His mother could have stopped this several times if she'd kept him on his medication, or if she'd done something when he turned up with a dead cat. This could have been avoided. Or, not just the mum, if the Nevada police had actually kept him in custody when they found him bollock naked and covered in the blood of an animal, claiming that it was his own. But no, nobody did a damn thing, and now we've got 2 adults and an unborn baby dead. Not to mention a whole shitload of animals. All of this, in my opinion, all of this destruction and horror was 100% avoidable. If someone had done something. January 23rd, 1978. Richard goes and buys himself 2 puppies from a neighbour. And you know this isn't going to end well. Well, after he bought them, he killed them, drank their blood, and then he dumped their bodies on the neighbour's front lawn, almost as if he was returning them after he was finished with them. So, well, I've had what I want, you can have them back now. I don't need them anymore, you can have them back. It wasn't reported at the time and nothing was done. The neighbour knew who she'd sold the dead puppies to. Why didn't she do anything? I was like, dear God. He's not even trying to hide what he's doing. January 27th, 1978. Around a week or so after the brutal murder of Teresa Wallin and her unborn child, and the slaying of the 2 puppies, Richard was hungry, or maybe thirsty. I really don't know by this point what was driving him. But he needed more, and he went back on the hunt. This time, he entered the home of 38-year-old Evelyn Mirowith. Now, Evelyn wasn't home alone. She happened to be babysitting her nearly 2-year-old nephew, David. And as well as Meredith and her nephew David at home, there was also her Evelyn, sorry. I keep saying Meredith, but you'll find out why in a minute. As well as Evelyn and her 2-year-old nephew David, her 6-year-old son Jason, and a neighbour, Dan Meredith, there we go, was also in the house. Now, Dan happened to stop by to check up on Evelyn, because you know there's a killer on the loose. Stopped in, and Evelyn had actually happened to go for a bath, and Dan was watching the boys for her while she went for her bath. And it was while she was in the bath that Richard appeared. Now, Dan was in the hallway when Richard came into the house. And as soon as he saw him, he shot him point blank in the head with the same .22 caliber handgun. After he'd killed Dan, he stole his wallet and his car keys. Young Jason ran to his mother's bedroom, where Richard shot him twice in the head, killing him. He also shot 2-year-old David in the head, killing him instantly. Then he made his way to the bathroom, fatally shot Evelyn once in the head. Once he'd shot and killed Evelyn, he dragged her body onto the bed, raped her and stabbed her while drinking her blood at the same time. Medical examiners would report that an inordinate amount of semen was found in the woman's rectum, indicating an unusual amount of ejaculations. So he was actually there for quite some time. By the time Richard was finished, he had stabbed her at least a dozen times in the anus with so much force that the knife actually penetrated her uterus through her anus. He also stabbed her in a series of vital points on the body that allowed blood to pool in her abdomen, which he then sliced open and drained into a bucket. After collecting the bucket full of blood, he drank all of it. But he still wasn't satisfied. He then took little 2-year-old David, took his body to the bathroom, where he split his skull open in the bathtub and ate parts of his brain. But no one thought to lock this man up. A knock on the door startled Richard, and he ran off in Dan's car. At the door happened to be a little 6-year-old girl who Jason had a pre-arranged playdate with. Now, the young girl alerted neighbours. They entered the home and were met with the horrific scene that Richard had left behind. Obviously, the police were called, and they discovered that Richard had left perfect handprints and perfect imprints of his shoes in Evelyn's blood. When Richard fled the scene, he took the body of little David with him. Yeah, I'm guessing that was in case he needed a snack later, in case the Nazi UFOs came back and he needed to drink some more blood. Now, he took the little boy's body back to his apartment, where he cut off his penis and used it as a straw to drink the blood out of his body. He then sliced the body open and ate several internal organs and made smoothies out of the rest. Yep. Once he was finished with the poor little boy's body, he dumped it at a nearby church. Yep. What the fuck indeed, Charlie? Yep. Right. I'm gonna nip to the little gamer's room because there's an ad break coming up in 38 seconds and I need a wee. I've only got a few pages left, so I'm going to stick on and be right back. Go stretch your legs. I know there's ads coming on, but you don't need to watch them. I'm not going to sit and force you to watch them, okay? But stick around till I've got an announcement to make at the end of this stream. But go grab a cuppa, stretch your legs. I'll be back in a minute. Or two. But yeah, I'll be right back. Hello. If you're still here, thank you very much for waiting. I do appreciate it. Right. So, after the brutal killing of Teresa Wallin, FBI agents Ross Vorpagel and Robert Ressler, woohoo, I got that right, were called in to try and find her killer. During the investigation, they compiled a profile of the suspect and came to the decision that he would be a tall, malnourished loner who would be dirty, and that he would continue to kill until he was caught. Five days after the mass murder of Evelyn, Dan and the two young boys, the FBI released the profile to the public to try and identify the suspect, as they normally do. And it was at this time that Nancy Holden, remember the old school friend that Richard had tried to get a lift off her? Yeah, she contacted the police and she told them that Richard fitted this description perfectly and that she seriously believed that he was the killer that they were in fact looking for. Finally, the police took her seriously. Somebody actually finally thought, right, no, hold on, she might be telling the truth. We should maybe look into this Richard Chase guy. So they did a background check on him. And they discovered that he had a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol registered in his name. They also discovered that he had been institutionalised and committed in a mental institute for the criminally insane. Detectives and a team of police officers went over to Richard's apartment to talk to him. They only went to talk to him because at the moment all they've got is this, for all they know, old girlfriend. He's called up and said, look, this guy, mate, I think this guy did it, you know. They're bound to get that all the time. But they went over, they're like, right, no, we're going to look into this because this does seem a bit dodgy that out of nowhere this name gets dropped and he happens to have the same kind of weapon. So they go over to talk to him, nothing more. But he refused point blank to talk to them. He was, nope, no interested, go away, no today, and shut the door, no talking to you. So that got them a wee bit suspicious, as you can imagine. But the police, after that, they thought, nah, there's something dodgy about this guy. You know, this character's a bit not right. Maybe need to check him out a wee bit further. So they hid in the corridor of the apartment building and they waited him out. They just stayed there and waited until Richard left the flat. And when he did leave, he was carrying a blood-stained box and he was arrested immediately. Because that shit right there is suspicious. Upon inspection, the box was found to contain pieces of shredded blood-stained wallpaper and the blood-stained .22 caliber pistol that had been used on all his victims. His parka. How come they always wear parkas? They never wear like hoodies or, you know, windbreakers. It's always big heavy parkas, you know. And shoot, it's not just them actually. It tends to be peeping toms and flashers wear them too, I don't know. It's like you need to be a criminal to wear a parka or something. I don't know. Is that, if you're a criminal you must wear a parka? I don't know. But anyway, his parka and his shoes were also stained with blood. They didn't just have blood on them, they were stained with blood. So the detectives searched him personally, and on his person they found Dan Meredith's wallet. He actually had it in his pocket. What, really? Now, he claimed that the blood had came from the dogs that he had killed. So he straight up admitted, "Yeah, I killed dogs. I kill pets for fun. Hi, I'm Richard. I'm your neighbourhood dog slayer." Yeah. Now, police and the FBI searched Richard's apartment. Standard practice. And it was not pretty. I've not seen pictures, thank the stars, but it sounds horrific. They found that the walls, ceiling and floor and fridge were covered, and all his eating and drinking utensils were soaked in blood. The whole apartment covered in blood. Floor to ceiling, all his dishes, his cups, all covered in blood. On the counter, they found a blender that was caked in coagulated blood and the rotting remains of internal organs. He never even washed out the blender. Ew! He literally is getting poisoned, but it's not Nazi UFOs, he's poisoning himself. Inside the fridge was even worse. They found several animal body parts wrapped in tinfoil. Little David's brain, or what was left of it, was in a Tupperware dish, and some of his body parts were wrapped in cling film, along with internal organs belonging to Evelyn Meredith and Teresa Wallen. Remember them? On another kitchen counter, there were several different pet collars, and on the kitchen table, he had several diagrams showing various aspects of human biology. So he was studying, he was doing his homework. So overall, it was an open shut case. They had their killer. Of that, there was no doubt. They knew this guy had done it. And in 1979, Richard Chase went on trial on 6 counts of murder. Now, obviously, his lawyers, their job was to try and get him off as lightly as possible, and their main objective was to avoid the death penalty. Because they figured, well, we can't get him off with this. The least we can do is try and spare him the death penalty. Try and get him life imprisonment. So they tried to have him found guilty of the lesser charge of second-degree murder by reason of insanity. Simple enough. The whole case was based on medical history and the lack of planning in the murders. Evidence that they were not thought out or premeditated. Which they weren't. They just happened to be gone about the doors and gone in on the elderly for open. Now, first degree murder. Now I knew this, I didn't have to research this. Big brain. When it comes to certain things, big brain. First degree murder carries the death penalty and implies that the murders were planned out in advance and that he was completely 100% responsible for his actions. He knew what he was doing, what he wanted to do. Everything was pinpoint perfection. He'd picked his victims in advance, stalks them, goes in, kills them. Everything's planned out. That's first degree. That's premeditated. Second degree murder carries a life imprisonment sentence and implies that the murders were not planned in advance. Now remember, these murders weren't planned. He didn't pick these victims deliberately. He happened upon them by chance because their doors were unlocked. With the exception of Ambrose Griffin, who he happened to be just testing out his new gun on and drove by and shot him out. It was what he called a warm-up. To see if he was physically capable or emotionally capable of taking a human life. Because taking an animal's life is one thing. For a normal person, it's not an easy thing to do. But it is completely different than taking a human life. I grew up on a farm. I have taken the lives of animals before. I never enjoyed doing it, but I have done it. If I had to do it again, I know I would be able to. However, when it comes to taking a human life, no. Unless mine or one of mine's lives went at risk, like me or my husband or a member of my family, if we were in danger, then maybe, yes, I could probably see myself taking a human life. But under normal circumstances, no, it is not something I think I personally would be capable of doing. So he did this drive-by to see that he was able to do it, to make sure he could pull the trigger. Because like I said, killing an animal is one thing, but taking a human life is completely different. And that's what Ambrose Griffin was. It was a trial run. Whereas, as we know, the other victims were so much more than that. They were brutal, horrific, heinous crimes. Like, Rob Zombie wrote this shit kind of thing, okay? So, as lawyers were trying to argue for second-degree murder by reason of insanity, which because of the Nazi UFO poison thing, I agree with. Because let's face it, Richard Chase was not a well man, he was not a sane man, and he was not responsible for his actions to an extent. Because he was unmedicated. He didn't plan out these murders. He happened to find the victims by a complete random. So I agree with the lawyers in this instance that it wasn't first degree murder, as the law states. It was in fact second degree murder. In my opinion. You may have a different one, but I agree with the lawyers in this instance. On the 8th of May, 1979, see, even back then, as recent, they ain't messing about. Richard Chase was found guilty of first degree murder on all 6 counts. His lawyers asked for a clemency hearing, which is basically where they go and they try and beg for leniency on behalf of their client. And they were trying to prove that he was not legally sane. He was criminally insane at the time that he committed murders. But the judge decided that Richard was not legally insane. He was not criminally insane. The judge decided that Richard Chase was of sound mind and therefore responsible for his own actions. No, sorry, that judge was wrong. He was sentenced to death, and sentence was he was to die in the gas chamber. But of course the story doesn't exactly end there. None of the other prisoners would go near him. On death row. None of the other inmates would go near him. They all knew about his crimes and how horrific and brutal these slayings were, and even the most hardened criminals and gang members were scared to go near him. Like, everybody was terrified for him in prison. They wanted him dead for his crimes. They wanted him dead. But they were too frightened to get close enough to kill him. It's like, I want you dead, but I don't actually want to get near you. I don't want to touch you. So, they tried to actually convince him to kill himself. Go away. Keep getting notifications. Now, while he was on death row, he was interviewed by Robert Ressler, remember, from the FBI, multiple times. And he continued, what does that say contained? He continued his ramblings about Nazi UFOs and said that he was forced to kill these people to keep himself alive. But he said that if he could get access to a ray gun, he could capture one of these Nazi UFOs and they could stand trial for the murders. Okay. He also, at one point during one of these interviews, handed Ressler a large amount of mac and cheese that he had kept in his pocket because he believed that the prison officials were working with the Nazi UFOs to try and kill him by poison. Yes, you heard that right. Yeah, this really did happen, people. Like, I've got a good imagination, but even I couldn't have made this shit up. Nazi UFOs. Poison macaroni. Corrupt prison officials. That I believe. I don't think they're working with Nazi UFOs, but I do believe that there are. I'm not saying that these prison officials were corrupt. I am saying that corrupt prison officials do exist. I just don't highly doubt that they're working with Nazi UFOs to poison inmates. Right. On the 26th of December 1980, a guard doing routine checks found Richard lying in an awkward position on his bed and he wasn't breathing. Autopsy concluded that Richard Chase committed suicide by overdosing on his prescribed antidepressants that he had been holding for a few weeks rather than taking daily like he was prescribed. So he was tonguing his antidepressants and stashing them and holding them to overdose himself. I guess he figured, well, at one point the Nazi UFOs are going to kill me, so fuck the lot of them. I'm going to beat them to it, and I'm just going to take myself out of the equation. Now, there is a movie that was made in 1988 called Rampage that was based loosely on his crimes. Not to be confused with the 2016 movie with the same name starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Okay, that's a giant monkey. That's no giant monkey. Oh, sorry. Oh, I am having serious back spasms. Oh. Joys of being a crap hole. Right. So, there you have it, folks. 6 people dead, including 2 children. And that's not including the unborn Wallens baby and all the pets and wild animals that were killed. But, like so many of these cases, this could have been easily avoided. Richard Chase was failed. Long before he became a murderer, he was failed. His father practically abandoned him. And his mother, she not only took him off the medication that controlled his disturbed urges, she literally closed the door on him as he ripped apart a cat and drank its blood on her doorstep. Those parents, in my opinion, they caused this. They should have been held accountable for this. They knew what he was capable of and they ignored it. They prevented it. I'm sorry, that's funny. Yes. Swaddly Bat, welcome. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It really does mean a lot. You've actually joined on a very good night because on a Sunday I tell horrific true crime stories. And tonight you've actually caught me at the tail end, but I'm telling the story of Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, who was a very, very disturbed individual who believed that Nazi UFOs were trying to kill him, and the only way to prevent it was to kill and drink the blood of people and animals. If you search my name in YouTube, you'll catch the story there if it's something that piques your interest. But yes, you read right, I am Buckybird. I am a gothic streamer and I play mainly horror games, and I say mainly, I only stream horror games, and on a Sunday night I tell horrific true crime stories. So, welcome. But yeah, as I was saying, his parents could have prevented this from happening, but they chose to ignore it. They pretended it didn't happen. They literally closed the door on him as he was covered in the blood of a dead animal that he just ripped apart in front of his mother. So they should have been held accountable, but they never are. It's like, yeah, you completely destroyed your child's life and 6 people are dead, but yay, you get to go on with your life. Despite the path of destruction caused by the fact that you didn't know how to use a condom. Yay. Now, as for the judge, right, the judge that sentenced him to the death penalty by finding him sane. What's that all about? These were not the actions of a sane man. He was not responsible for his thoughts and actions. Was it Nazi UFOs? No, of course it wasn't Nazi fucking UFOs, okay? No. But this was a deranged man that needed intense psychiatric treatment and the anti-psychiatric drugs that his mother threw out. But he got ignored, and the judge, he just decided that, no, I don't like you, you're getting held accountable for this, you're going to die for what you've done, I don't care about the reasoning. Did he deserve to be punished for his actions? Hell yes, of course he did. He brutally murdered 6 people. An unborn baby, 4 adults, 2 children, an unborn baby, and numerous pets and animals. So, hell yes, he deserved to be punished for what he did. Of that, there is no doubt in my mind whatsoever. But the judge was wrong. He was not a sane man, and he should not have been sentenced to death. he should have been incarcerated for life. Now, he should have been locked up for life in a mental institute for the criminally insane. He should never have been allowed out of that. Again, I have no doubt. Because it was not safe for him or the public for him to be up. It's that simple. But he should not have been sentenced to death. He should not even have stood on trial. He was not fit to stand trial, in my opinion. I must stress that this is purely my opinion and what I've found during the course of researching this particular story. Now, I mean, in my opinion, he was not fit to stand trial because he believed in that Nazi UFOs were trying to kill him, and the only way to stop them from killing him was to drink the blood and eat the organs of other living beings, human or animal. How are they possibly the thoughts of a sane man? Again, I repeat, in my opinion, that judge just looked at the crimes and decided that the man responsible should die, whether he was sane or not. And again, in my opinion, Richard Chase was not sane. He was not fit for trial. He was not responsible for his actions. Criminally insane, yes, should have been locked up for the rest of his life, but he should not have been sentenced to death. Not that it mattered, because he ultimately took his own life anyway. But, again, that's just my opinion. You might have a different opinion on the matter. If you do, then please let me know. If not here, then on the comments on YouTube. This will be going up there on Tuesday. But yeah, so please let me know what you think of this story, because I am so conflicted. I am so angry and frustrated at the parents for just abandoning him, for letting him down, for having him in the first place. They clearly didn't want him. I mean, he was beaten and abused for a very young age, to the point that he was an alcoholic as a teenager. Okay? So, yeah, they probably shouldn't even have had him in the first place. But if you're going to have a kid, at least try and raise it. I mean, these folk that have kids that just, they beat the shit out of them for the sake of beating the shit out of them. I don't get it, I really don't. But, and my hair's running the wrong way, but it's because it's mirrored in the fucking camera. Right, so, next week I've got an interesting story. I'll be completely honest with you, I was up late last night playing GTA Roleplay, and by the time me and Mr. Modman went to bed, we put on the TV and it was on Blaze, and they were talking about supernatural killings, and one name came up, and I did a wee bit of research last night. Bear in mind, this is like 4 in the morning or something, so I did a wee bit of Googling last night, a wee bit of Murderpedia like I always do, and discovered that the name that they dropped was a real life legit serial killer. And they're talking about this guy on a supernatural show that is talking about the origins of the werewolf and the vampire story, and I thought, hell yeah, that's me, over the bat, I need to work on this. So I'm stopping, timeline stopped, all the stories that I've got planned will be put back a week. I need to cover this shit, okay, like vampires, werewolves, serial killers. This story could have been written for me. So I'm working on that for next week, and then I'll go back to normal. Feels the book actually. Then I will go back to normal service. Will be resumed. If I can find. Here's my page. Right, so I've actually only got 2 more stories in the book to go from here. One is a recommendation from my brother-in-law, and that's Angel. I don't know if she's in chat tonight, but her husband, my sister's husband, I don't know if she's here tonight, but she might be watching this back on YouTube later on. So if you are kiddo, yes, I am doing the 4th story. I'm just pushing it back a week. And then after that, I have got a story from Mr. Unsnarled Conch, who can't join us tonight because he is out with his family. Hope you're having a good time, my dear. Really miss movie night tonight, but I completely understand, and I'll be looking forward to it next week. So, yeah. So, I'm going to do this supernatural story next week because, like I said, it caught my attention. The minute it mentioned vampires, werewolves, and a serial killer all in one go, it was like, hell yeah, this could have been made for me. So that drew my attention straight away. It was a bit like this one when Minom recommended this one. It had vampire in the title, and it was like, yep, I'm there. What can I say? I'm a gore whore. I love stuff like this. So, yeah. I mean, I've literally been doing stuff like this since I was like, yeah, hi. Like, before the internet, okay? Not gonna lie, that's how old I am. I am old as shit. I'm older than the internet. Well, no, but I remember a time before the internet, okay? Before everybody had it in the house. When it was just new, okay? When only institutions and schools and businesses had it. It wasn't a common occurrence. Jeez, I remember before mobile phones were popular. Hi there! Fucking shit myself there. So, yeah. So I've been loving this stuff since I had to go to a library to research, okay, so certain stories, keywords will pop out at me and it's like, right, aye, that's this good word vampire in it, I need to check this shit out. Vampire, werewolf and serial killer, hell yeah, I'm all over that. So that's coming next week, because I was late to my bed last night because I was sitting playing GTA roleplay. See, I do other things other than horror, I just don't stream them. I'm loving having a new computer, by the way, because I can actually play GTA roleplay. How great is that? I'm going to 5M. I can play GTA. Yay! Still struggling with the mouse and keyboard thing though. But hey ho. So yeah, I did say that after this story I would have an announcement, and I do. We think I'm gonna add a thing, a channel point redemption, where it's gonna be random horror fact. Fully useless horror information. So, yep, I'll probably introduce it before I go live on Tuesday with the next part of Little Nightmares. So, I'm going to introduce that. I don't know what points it's going to be for and things like that, but it's just going to be random horror fact, and I'm going to throw out a random movie horror fact. Like, now, I got the idea the other night there when we were talking, and I started going on about the random facts about the Halloween franchise and how it ended up being the way it was and what it was supposed to be. And I got the idea, I've got all these useless facts and information about horror movies and stuff like that. So I'm going to add that in, just a wee bit of fun, something new. Play a bit with that. But also, as you may or may not know, I need to get the pictures and everything back up. Obviously, I took everything down because of the Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship deal, but because I wasn't allowed to double advertise while I was doing that campaign, so I need to put everything back up. I've just not getting into it with personal stuff that's been going on and whatnot. But I am in fact sponsored by an energy drinks company, Wraith. And no, Wraith, before you say anything, not you. In fact, let's see if this works. This should work. I have got this set up. That should work. There we go. Yep. Thank you, Moobot. I did say not you, Wraith. Yeah. So yeah, I am sponsored by Raid. No, that was 2 weeks ago. By Wraith Energy Drink, and they're absolutely fantastic. I actually have run out at the moment, but I've got an order in. I've got delivery coming in the next day or two, and I'm going to be running a giveaway. Really simple. Again, it'll probably be Channel Point Redemption. Yeah, go by Wraith. 10% off if you use code BuckyBird at checkout. But no, it is absolute fantastic stuff. You just resachet or a tub, you mix it with water, and away you go. All the caffeine, all the highs, none of the lows, because it's no sugar. So there's no crashing or tiredness or after effects, because there's no sugar in it. It's just all caffeine. But so yeah, waiting on a delivery coming from them, and I'm gonna do it's gonna be like a spinny wheel. I'll set it up through the laptop onto the PC, and it'll be adding names to a wheel. And at the end of the sponsor stream, I will pick winners at random to receive, whether it will be a shaker or some sachets of different flavours that you've got. Now, obviously, first come, first serve, so the first winners get to... Yeah. Sorry, YouTube notification, there was somebody that followed. So, obviously I'll have a list of flavours, and first come, first serve. As you win, you can pick off what flavour you want, and I'll get it posted out to you. It's just a good wee wife, and can get everybody to interact and to let you try before you buy, sort of thing. And of course, if you do happen to win and you like the flavour that you get, you can go on and you can use my discount code, and you can get 10% off all purchases. Not just the first purchase, but all purchases. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And I will be announcing it on socials and on Discord when that goes live. But obviously I'm just waiting on the delivery just now. But that'll be fun. And of course, because I've got the new equipment, I'm able to set up like streaming from the laptop and the desktop and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool that I can do all that. Now that Spud's been retired and Phoenix has risen. And yes, Purple, I went with the name Phoenix because it suits her. I've actually named the lad in the settings. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night there. But as always, this story and every other one will be online on YouTube going up on Tuesday. Probably need to set a reminder for that because the last couple of weeks I've been forgetting. But to be fair, I have a lot on my plate. I will be back on Tuesday evening with the next instalment of Little Nightmares. Then I will be back on Thursday with the next instalment of Resident Evil 2. Oh, on that subject, for anyone here that is a fan of the original Resident Evils, like myself, the original games are being brought back to Steam. Apparently a lot of people are asking for them, so they're bringing them back to Steam. Worth looking into. That's the original, not the remastered. It's the remastered that I've been playing. I want to play the originals as well, but it means I need to play them on keyboard and mouse, and I'm still learning with that. It's a work in progress. I mean, I can walk about Liberty City, but don't ask me to drive a car. And I haven't attempted to shoot a gun yet, and I don't think I ever will. I can swing a baseball bat. That'll do me. But on that note, I'm gonna leave it there. So yeah, Tuesday, Little Nightmares. Thursday, Resident Evil. And then next Sunday, a lovely supernatural serial killer story that I only stumbled across because I was too busy playing roleplay to go to my bed. But big thank you to everybody that's joined me this evening. Really, really do appreciate it. I appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday evening and joining me. I appreciate the support. Thank you for the new follow. Again, I really appreciate that. I will announce on socials when the giveaway is taking place. Like I said, I'm just waiting on the delivery for that. But I'm going to go for now. Until next time, look after each other, stay safe, keep your doors locked, because you never know who's outside. And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye now.